Racism is wrong. 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 Racism is wrong.
The human brain is a giant web radio. Pulsing with electromagnetic impulses, it is how we receive and transmit messages from the outside world of our skulls. The wet radio has no knobs. You must wander until you find yourself standing in a clear signal. All wet radios are unique. All wet radios are sublime. Some are AM, some are FM, some are CB, some are shortwave, some are marine bands. All different. The different types are not always sensitive to each other's signals, so we must work to reach across the voids of space and understand each other. Diversity in wavelengths, seeking signals from beyond, let us find our favorite stations and become attuned to the divine. Welcome to Wet Radio, the audio blogzillary of the Killing Floor blog. I'm your host, John Manson, and it is all my fault. I want to send a special shout out to Tay Tay and Likey Mo, the two people who said I needed to get off my lard marbled ass and do a blogzillary. Thank you very much. It is Black Saturday. It is Anti-Hero Day. It is the Saturday in between Good Friday and Easter Sunday. We are very excited. It is the wee hours. We're going to be getting started here. This is our first broadcast. Very excited. Very excited. Live with alacrity, just like the Nine Girl. For those of you who read the blog, you know what's going on. For those of you who don't, you'll catch up. We're going to be doing segments from the blog and our own unique segments here to Wet Radio. The format has been completely downloaded by our host. I've had no hand in it. From reaching into my phone, artificial intelligence has created a template, replete with all the sound effects you were hearing. I don't know where this stuff is coming from. So strap in, enjoy the ride. And again, premiere broadcast, Black Saturday 2019, Anti-Hero Day, Wet Radio. I was going to say something about what all my friends are doing. You would have laughed as I laughed. John Manson has no friends. Perhaps intimate acquaintances. I choose, like in the Oscar Wilde, I choose my enemies for their intellect, my friends for their appearance. What have we here? It's our first segment. Shitlords of History. A popular feature on the blog and on Facebook for that. Wet Radio will be profiling personalities and saying what makes them a shitlord. My favorite, one of my favorite, not my all favorite, the Blessed Father Stanley Wather is my favorite of all time, but in order to fire up the virtual signal, our first shitlord will be a WOC, who is GAF. NBA ref, first female NBA ref, Miss Violet Palmer. They did not want her to be a referee. Boys just want to have fun, and they do not want strong women telling them what to do. But Miss Violet Palmer, who is a gorgeous woman, didn't take no for an answer. She became the first referee, first female referee in NBA history. I was fortunate enough to be able to watch her perform at an Oklahoma City Thunder game. It was like watching fascist ballet. She moved with all the grace of Achilles, smiting the enemies, letting those billionaire ballers know whose court it was. KD, meet Vi. Cross her, you die. My heart went pitter, patter, pitter. I wanted her to blow my whistle call me foul, and sit me deep in her penalty box. Let me raise that hand. I am foul. I am defiled. I submit to your authority. Jay Evan did not know that I was not watching the game, that I was watching this ethereal, brutal force of nature enforce natural law. Upon returning to work at Bill Camp's Meat Market, I ran into Louise Bennett, the wife of the owner, Clay Bennett, a truly wonderful woman. I told her of my infatuation with this marvelous creature. Told her I was a fan. She laughed and said that was a mighty big club. My chance to meet her and profess my love was not to be. Upon doing research for the article, I found out that she was married to a significant other, or with a significant other. I did not know their marital status, but that she was, her significant other was a woman, and rather than thwarting my crush, it renewed it all the more. And not in that horny girl-on-girl way, it made her all the more immune to the powers of the basketball men who might think they had something over her. Whatever is lurking beneath those silky shorts was of no interest to Violet Palmer. Here we go! Segment 2! Mean Cuisine! That's cheesy as hell. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mean Cuisine, revived from the 1990s Oklahoma Gazette era, where your host, John Manson, finds a flimsy excuse to go somewhere he wants to go and eat something there so he can put it on the Gazette's nickel. The Gazette wants nothing to do with this anymore, so it's just me. I went to the Azalea Festival in Muskogee, Oklahoma, maybe last week, I forget. I've slept since then. And I'd been to the gun show in Tulsa the previous week, and we will talk about my dinner there. It was a microwave sandwich at a convenience store. But I had wanted to go to Baker's Catfish in Muskogee. They had plates of french fries big as your head, and the waitress would not tell you that, and everyone would order a size of fries, and you'd have enough to feed Ethiopia for a year. But Baker's had closed, and what came up was a place called Catfish Ranch. I was going to the Azalea Festival. It was raining. I went to Catfish Ranch. Building was, sort of new. It was right next door to a Super 8 or something like that. And places like that are either going to be awfully great or greatly awful. And lo and behold, the service was outstanding. The food was outstanding. I had a pork fried steak, which was the cousin to the chicken fried steak. And you might not know the chicken fried steak actually came from the German schnitzel. Lots of German immigrants went down to Texas. They brought schnitzel with them. In Texas, cow is king. And it went to pork. It went to beef. And so this was a pork fried steak. It was of sufficient diameter, big as your head, that I would imagine it was a pork shoulder steak. Supremely tender. The breading was sublime. The mashed potatoes might have been reconstituted, but they were perfect as a side to this. White gravy on the side. I believe I had green beans with plenty of bacon and onions. A buttered dinner roll, a fluffy salad with blue cheese dressing, and if I am mistaking his name, I believe the gentleman's name was Dominique, who I spent a wonderful time talking about dispensary culture and Gaillardia and all sorts of wonderful things. I do not think he was the only African-American gentleman in Muskogee, but he was certainly the only one in the restaurant that day. And upon leaving, he got up and gave me a hug, which surprised me. It was a real love fest in there, and I say that without the slightest hint of irony. The food was great. They wanted to be reviewed. They were excited about the process. So if you are in Muskogee, go to Catfish Ranch and tell them that that crazy guy in the crazy bandana sent you there. I also had really good barbecue at Mudcat Barbecue. at the Chili Festival. Oh, it's our next segment. Redbuds and Sirens. That was our fake Oklahoma where the wind comes sweeping down the plain and then a tornado siren. This template is shit. But Redbuds and Sirens, the premise of this section is that I have aspirations to be an amateur storm chaser and sort of be Nietzsche in the gates of Death from Above 2019. And it's got legs. But we have not had, I'm trying to get on with Channel 9. I've got some friends there and see if I can do a ride along. I don't think that Val Castor wants to talk to me anymore. But I am working towards that, and this column would be that journey. I'm going to relate to you our experience with the devastating May 3rd tornado. I believe it was in '99. It was the first F5 on record, and Billy Joe Winghead was actually driving home from North Carolina that day, and we knew that there was a massive tornado that went through the Oklahoma City Moore area. We knew there was a loss of life, and while the excitement of tornado season, Mr. Camp would always say that the first thing you do when you hear the sirens is you get yourself an adult beverage and go out on the porch to gawk at the storm. There is something about the Oklahoma character that makes the storm part of you. I'm always disappointed if I'm not in a tornado watch. But there was loss of life, and that excitement is not mitigated by that, nor is it a celebration of that. Because you're interested in World War II history does not mean that you think that war was a good idea or that the Nazis were anything other than snappy dressers who deserved to be shot. So we had to pull over in Waleetka, Oklahoma. We went into the gas station. The clerk there was a nice young lady who was freaking out and said the tornado was upon us and we either had to get in the showers or get out, which we did. We sat there waiting to die. I called Stacy and told her where we were, and she said, yep, it's right on top of you. And so we waited around for a while, and Vegas got itchy, and he said, Winghead stops for no one. And we went back out into the lobby of the gas station, and some good old boys were there who had said that they had seen the tornado. And driving back, so we drove on back, and as we went through Midwest City where I-40 comes into the metro, it truly did look like an atomic bomb had gone off. A shredded American flag on the poles, all the auto dealerships there, the cars had just been thrown around. It was horrible, horrible devastation that day. And just a reminder of you become numb to it after a while, and you've lived here, but the devastation was real, and people complain about why do they always fire the sirens, and oh, the weathermen are liars, nothing's going to happen. Well, it happens. Oh, what is this? It's a rainbow of hate. It's a rainbow of hate. Racial slurs. The slur of the day. In Slur of the Day, we are going to be examining a racial slur from our master list that we keep under lock and key, lest SJWs feel triggered. And our inaugural slur is one of my favorites. I've never heard it used in the wild. Some of my friends have. It is moon cricket. Moon cricket. The first time I heard moon cricket, my thought was, what the actual fuck? Why would anyone decide to denigrate their fellow man by calling them something that sounds so cute? Moon cricket actually, to me, sounds like something that a dear old Chinese man might call his favorite granddaughter, my little moon cricket. On the motif of that, we know that there are fighting crickets in some cultures. They fight each other. The winner is the winner, and the loser is the loser, and they have tickle sticks that they tickle their crickets with in order to get them tickled and ready to fight. Tickle me, and I'm ready to fight, by golly. And I imagine that there was one cricket, a special cricket, that could defeat all the other crickets, the Sailor Moon of crickets, and that would be Moon Cricket. But I was wrong. Nope, it's a hurtful term, and hurtful terms are bad. Give them power over people. Now, do you realize how stupid that sounds? A cute sounding word, and people get bent out of shape. Use those words, use those words, use those words, and use those words until they mean nothing. The Union flooded the Confederacy with counterfeit money to destroy their economy. Brothers and sisters, we shall destroy the economy of hate employed by the right-wing death squads. Find your favorite slur and use it as a nickname for your best friend, for your wife, for your child. All of a sudden, if we practice this, hate language will cease to exist, and the alt-right will suck it. They are the moon crickets. They are the nigger of the world. Oh my. Checking this is actually flowing along pretty well. I got my ideas out. The template seems to know it's divided into 3-minute and 20-second segments. So if you have a favorite slur, walk up and tell me. Call me it by name.
I'm gonna get you, sucker, 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 sucker.
Our next segment is called Micro Vendettas. It is a concept come up with by Wet Radio, as there are microaggressions, which are systemic, hurtful things that are so small they can only be felt by the most sensitive if you are being callous in your definition. If there is a microaggression, should there not be a micro vendetta, which would be a wholly disproportionate response to the microaggression? I'm all about getting paid, paying out, and getting even. I wholly support the concept of the micro vendetta. I was at work, and a gentleman came in. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. We were beginning to break down at Sprouts, the back room. And he had asked one of my coworkers if we had any extra lean hamburger, which was ironic because this fella was anything but extra lean, if you catch my body shaming drift. I said that we did not, but that I would be ready to get him some, but the health department always reach above. That the health department did not necessarily want us to grind if we had already detailed our grinder. He became aggrieved, said that they had it all day at Homeland, and touched me on the shoulder as if to commiserate. Little did I know he was treating me like his slave dog lackey. I told him I would check and see if we could fill his order. I found Manager Melvin, a fine fellow, asked him if I could grind hamburger for this fellow, and he said, of course, we grind till 8 o'clock. I went to find this gentleman to tell him that we could fill his order. He was nowhere to be found. I looked throughout the store, and he was standing in the checkout line. All he wanted to do was complain, run around someone in the service industry, and then stiff me on the order that I'd put the labor into. I want to get back at this man. I want to cause him suffering. So, sir, if you were listening, you're in a red t-shirt, you're balding, and you're a colossal fat fuck. I spit at you. May your children be visited with night terrors. May you never have another orgasm, either aided or self-induced, in your sorry life. I think that's sufficient. It was only a small thing. I didn't grind the hamburger. But still, talk shit, you're going to get hit. Especially on wet radio. Are you being served? In the segment, Are You Being Served?, we deal with service. What constitutes a life of service? AAA, the American Automobile Association. Returning from Muskogee, Oklahoma, I had a flat tire. I only had a flimsy bottle jack in my colossal 1976 van, which I never bothered to replace or get a floor jack because I had AAA and had for 30 years. AAA provided emergency road service to me unfailingly for 30 years. When I was a scallywag of 17, getting drunk and getting my car stuck in ditches, my dear mother purchased a membership and admonished me, don't call me, call AAA. I felt good about the relationship until that fateful day. I called them to come get my car up in the air and change the tire, as I've done countless times, and I was informed that my membership had lapsed a month ago, that somehow the bill had not been paid. And I said, well, good people, I do not know how this could have happened, except that my mother is getting on in years, and she is taking care of a grievously ill wife. And can we look at the forensics of the account and maybe charge it to the card on file or something like that? Both my accounts were overdrawn at this point. And they said that no, as far as they were concerned, I was a new customer. So I spoke to several customer service reps. I was aggrieved, and with varying degrees of animus was told that it did not matter how long I had been a customer, that they treated the new customer the same as the 30-year customer. And I said, well, I may disagree with what you're saying, but at least you're being consistent. Why do you put valued member since and the year that I joined, which is 1976, if it means nothing? It's on the front of the card. Words matter, ideas matter. Upon returning home, I made a final call to a customer service rep who admitted that their actions and their mission statement were incongruous, which was, in one respect, all I wanted was an admission of we are failing. Failing. She said that I would be emailed. That was last Saturday, a week ago, and I've not received that email. AAA, you have failed. What? Tires slash for free. Hey everybody, look at me. Hey, look at me. Slash for free. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Laura Loomer's Tire Shop. For those of you who don't know, Laura Loomer is a figure on the alt-right, a wannabe journalista type person, most famous for when they had Shakespeare in the Park, the Donald Trump version. She decided that she could virtue signal from the right and stick it to the lefty man by interrupting the performance of the play and throwing a chocolate-covered panty fit. This large-nosed goddess did just that and had set up a GoFundMe for her legal fees with a target of, I think it was around $7,000 for a municipal fine of $700. Ladies and gentlemen, this miserable bitch was cashing in. It was a calculated, disgusting attack on free speech and freedom of expression, which is what those fuckheads say that they're about. I followed her on Twitter, much as my mother used to subscribe to Friday Land magazine because I was looking for things to get angry about. She had a flat tire and blamed Antifa until a good-natured netizen, Twitterati, took a picture of the tire and pointed out that it was dry rotted from end to end. The ridicule, the ridicule, the ridicule. To this day, there is a Twitter account called Laura Loomer's Tire to make fun of false flag culture. I am of two minds about false flag culture. If it's taken down the man, excess is no vice. Tawana Brawley did nothing wrong. Stick it to them. Your only sin was you didn't seal the deal. And Sharpton, you're a beautiful man, and your hair is a monumental train wreck. A few seconds here. This segment will be going over false flag culture. Exene Cervenka is horrible. Oh. Stalin did nothing wrong. Yes. We are going to start by discussing another alt-right douchebag, blogger, live streamer. His name is Millennial Matt. His favorite trick is to stick his butt-ugly mug on frame while someone else is doing something else and say, Hitler did nothing wrong. Ha, ha, ha. 1488, aren't you as edgy as fuck? If that's what passes for edge, give me a blowjob and leave your life, delete your account. Before, there was Milo, there was William S. Burroughs and John Waters. Before there was the Turner Diaries, there was the Anarchist Cookbook. We invented this shit, you've got nothing. And Stalin arguably did nothing wrong. The Russians got Hitler, who last time I checked, by Godwin's theory, Hitler is literally Hitler. He's literally a Nazi. So if you kill the godhead of literal Nazism through transgressive transcendentalism, transcendental transgressivism, moral horseshoe theory, you have achieved salvation. He was our ally. He was our friend. He helped us kill the Nazis. Patton might not have liked him. I remember the movie. But, you know, G-L-A-G. What's missing, Matt? You! But I digress. I want to go on vacation to Moscow. I want a polybox. I want to shoot some bathtub desomorphine. I want to be escorted around town by some of those crazy Russian edgy mafia kids in their tracksuits, the Eastern European style. I want to meet lovely Russian ladies. I want to visit Chernobyl, which I believe is in the Ukraine. I'll try not to Holodomor anyone while I'm over there. The Man of Steel. Joe. Thought I heard something.
Have I ever talked about the Schwartz and the Schwarzes are going? Or spoke about the Moulin Johns, or placated some southerner by absence of voice, and you rant and rave about nigga, nigga, nigga. Are there any niggas? I know the one nigga that works here. I see him back there. Oh, there's two niggas, customers, and, but between those three niggas, it's one kike. Thank God for the kike. Two kikes. That's two kikes and three niggas and one spick. One spick, three spicks. One mick, one spick, one hick, spick, funky, spunky boogie. And there's another kike. Three kikes.
Ladies and gentlemen, I touched on that earlier. That was Lenny Bruce, the guy who knew how to talk shit and wasn't afraid to get hit. Doing his famous routine, "Are there any niggers in the house tonight?" Say it till it means nothing. It's his idea, and I have appropriated it. This section is called Diversity, where we discuss, diversity. Want to talk about my close friend and bunkmate and moob sufferer, as I have been throughout my life, Richard Spencer. He put out a tweet where he said he unironically congratulated and commended everybody celebrating Kwanzaa. And I believe that. I believe that Richard Spencer wants to have a strong, vibrant, enriched black culture. He just wants it on another continent. And Lord knows, there have been separatists on all sides as long as there have been people to separate. Now my question is, if the white race is all of that, and Richard Spencer is the godhead of white identity, how did Slave Ray, who was already dead, run up and clock him? Slave Ray is a transcendentally wonderful shit-eater. And then Richard Spencer, trying to pare down his moves, went to the gym, and a Jewish soccer mom shamed him out, got him banned from the gym. But so, Dickie, if Antifa scat boys and gym sheiksas are running you out, where is this supremacy? Where is parity, for that matter? All I see is mediocrity. You are Florida man. The question on my mind is diversity. And this is a question for everybody. Can we truly have diversity without separatism? If everybody interbreeds and we achieve what I call the Mocha ethno-state, where is diversity? I'm all about diversity. I want to live close to a lot of different types of people. I got off track. We are going to substitute the Tasteless Joke Repository, which we did out of sequence. I'm going to see if I can get back on track. My mother, Easter is coming up, and I would like to send a shout out to Mom at Easter brunch. She told the aristocrats. She told the OU Law School 1959 version of the aristocrats. And ladies and gentlemen, it had roller skating in urine and feces, bestiality, incest, and all. And this is at Easter brunch. Mom, I love you. everything I am today. You are my moral compass. You are my horseshoe theory incarnate. I love you so much. You are the prototypical strong woman that has made me seek other strong women. And no, Mom, I'm not going there. I don't want to bang you. I just want to admire you and seek your greatness in the other ladies that I seek company with. I have a few Easter jokes, but they're visual. So I'm going to hold the microphone in my knees and tell you how to do these. Do you know why women love Jesus? Because he's hung like this. And then you spread your arms out as if you were talking about how big Jesus' dick was, but you're actually spreading your arms out to simulate crucifixion. It's a gas. Now you might say, John, it's Black Saturday. Jesus is dead. Why are you taunting the poor man? But I'm going to tell you something. Our Lord and Savior, my Lord and Savior, was put on this earth to be taunted, to receive the crown of thorns, to be humiliated, because God the Father wanted to show us that he knew how to feel our pain, and that there was nothing that we could do to his Son that would make him stop loving us. And that's beautiful. And my saying is, if Jesus can take a spear from the Romans, he can certainly take a joke. I had a few more. There's that one about what is Easter, and I think my dad told it with a Polish gentleman. Oh, here we're back on track. The dulcet strains of Uberalus tell us the Krauts have a word for it. In working at Bill Camp's Meat Market for 14 years like I did, it's a German immigrant opened grocery store and meat market. It's the oldest grocery in Oklahoma. In the 14 years I worked there were probably the most proud I've ever been of any work that I ever did. I learned a lot, and Bill was a wonderful man. His father, William, was a wonderful man. And he was very intelligent, would write terse letters to the classical radio station if they played too much unlistenable modern stuff. But he was also attuned to the uniqueness of the German language and the German character. And of course, words that only Germans had something for. Like the French invented ménage à trois, the Germans invented Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. That is cold joy. Schadenfreude, it's a popular term now. I'm explaining it just because I've got 3 minutes to kill. Schadenfreude is taking cold joy in the misfortune of others. And if there was ever a more German sentiment, I don't know what it would be. I was going to look up in my phone, because I've got this one, but we discussed it. If you eat too much during a stage of grief and gained weight, you have, and I don't have the German word, but it translates to Speck is the second half of it. It is grief bacon. And then the phrase that they also like to toss around over there, Arbeit macht frei. Work sets you free. That was inscribed on the gates of the concentration camps. And it's sad, because I go to work and I am set free. I love work. It takes your mind off your troubles. And inasmuch as I want to devalue the currency of hate by overusing the racial slurs and taking them off the market, I would like to be able to reclaim work sets you free. Arbeit macht frei. It may not work. The Holocaust is no joking matter, and I acknowledge that. But if we can quit being hurt about it, perhaps we can take away one more weapon that those sorry people use to make people feel bad. The whole Irish slaves existed is just to denigrate the suffering of black people, and the promotion of the Holodomor is simply to trivialize the Holocaust. I feel your pain, and you don't... Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm told this is called Blackout Memories. I'm supposed to describe an alcohol or drug experience that I can barely remember. Cute, huh? In those meetings that I can't talk about, they call that war stories. And people, when it's time for them to share, if all they do is war stories, they're looked down on. So at least for today, I'm going to honor that. I'm going to even ridicule the premise. If it's a blackout, how could I have any memories, and let Mr. Gira take it away? You should be raped. Yeah. Yeah, I went and saw this band in Chicago with John Mooneyham. Drove up there. It was the closest they were coming on the tour. This is Swans, by the way. And the good news was I got to listen to John Mooneyham's record collection, and the bad news is I had to listen. Whoa! We've entered our next section. This is called Read a Book, Motherfucker. And it's about a book. The first book we are going to be profiling is the French masterpiece Le Camp des Saints, Camp of the Saints. The French Turner Diaries, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Bannon and Steve Miller, Trump's bully boys from the Golden Age, used to suck each other's dicks and read this racist masterpiece about a turd-eating messiah who led a wave of stinky boats to overrun Europe with their filth. And what a thought. You should be raped by someone weaker than you, Mr. Gira says. And that's what happened in this book. A weaker culture showed up and raped all of Europe, all the world. They're coming. They're brown. they smell, and they want to have sex with your daughter. I can't wait. Don't fight back. Don't fight back. Suck it. It is beautiful. In a fan video to this song, Lee Atwater. The Dirty Trick, Republican actor who came up with the Willie Horton ad. And if you read some quotes in him on race, he's a amoral political genius. And he was a blues guitar player as well. And he'd given Bush Sr. a guitar with the Prez written on it that he couldn't play. He just sat there and went air guitaring, and Atwater's playing with him. And actually, Atwater, I think, was a passable player and was a genuine blues fan. But yeah, Willie Horton, he was what they call a rat fucker. This segment is called Church on Acid. The premise is sort of like when Mean Cuisine went and hit all the strip bars one Thanksgiving Eve in 91, 2, 3, something like that. Mean Cuisine, not Mean Cuisine, Wet Radio wants to get together a team of thrill seekers, drop acid, and then drop in on a church for the service. We will then peak at the peak of the spiritual experience, retire to the bomb factory, and discuss what it was like for us. Sex, maybe, I don't know. I'm looking for a few good men and a few good women who are not afraid to get their hands dirty, tune in, turn on, drop out, find God. But this template was generated by artificial intelligence, and I am neither artificial nor intelligent. I was not able to locate any LSD or have time to go to church. So, I will tell you about a near LSD experience I had at a church. It was the night of one of my it might have been my niece, as a matter of fact, her confirmation, and not confirmation, christening, so I don't know, it was one of those Catholic things, and my bipolar mania was returning, the medication had quit working, and I was just white-knuckling through it in a very uncomfortable state of mania, and watching the goings-on, all the beautiful little girls in their white dresses, and young men in their tuxes, and I felt like I was witnessing a stylized human sacrifice, which on one level, take and eat, this is my body, yeah, that's how it is. I had to leave the after christening dinner early because I had a bat mitzvah to go to. I went to this bat mitzvah, which had a DJ and a pool, and it was a wonderful party. The Sissons know how to party, and were always kind enough to invite us. I told the rabbi there that I'd been to a christening. He did not seem amused. He did not seem like he wanted a reminder of Goyim culture at this event, and frankly, I don't blame him. But Mr. Sisson had a bottle of Carbona, the cleaner, sitting next to his stereo. And I reminded him that was he used it to clean his stereo, and I reminded him that the Ramones did a song about huffing Carbona, and he was elated that someone caught that that's why he had it on display, was an homage to that. And I huffed Carbona at a bar mitzvah. What have you done with your life? King James Everything. I found a website, and what it does is translates everything into the King James Bible, Elizabethan, Shakespearean type language. I did some grocery receipts and a phrase from Gone with the Wind, and then I also did the Day of the Rope scene from the Turner Diaries. So without further ado, the Day of the Rope, King James Version. Today has been the day of rope, a day grim and bloody, yet as unavoidable. This night yon tens of thousands of lampposts witnessing, and the poles of his power, and the trees throughout the realm vast, grisly fruits do hang and grow ripe with delicacy. In his light, let him with eyes to see them. Even the 7 signs of roads that do cross, and verily pressed into service are, and at each corner I passed, there was the fruit of Babylon, and her number was 4. The great whore sat upon yon overpass, 30 the number, which she did deceive with her wickedness, and that number shall be writ in purloined blood of the saint of legend, I betrayed my race. And that number the 2 or 3 arrayed in scarlet and purple robes, minds replete with fornication of the beasts, and the whole batch are apparently faculty members from the nearby UCLA campus. Above yon placard leered horribly bloated, purplish-faced the mother of lies, her eyes wide open and bulging, her mouth agape, and tongue of the serpent that was not yet was. And then did the thin vertical line of rope disappear unto the heavens, and did rope slip a bit, until feet of the Queen of Lies did rest on the firmament, giving rise the tongues of 1,000 blasphemies and hateful birds. And the angel did quickly spirit me on my way. Yon many thousands of heads were of the whore, and each head was a city wherein the king had tasted her fornications, that the white and black, sons of Abraham, or feast on the delicacies of the merchants do lust after. And betwixt yon 1,000 heads, yet numbers of men with heads on which is writ mystery, but that the women easily outnumber them 7 or 8. And on the forehead of the politician, the lawyer, the merchant, the sorcerer, the teller of tales, the judges, the teachers, and the many legion in their number, verily has the system paid them their 30 pieces of silver. Today was our succor. Ladies and gentlemen, the Day of the Rope, King James Version. Wasn't sure how long that's going to take. 53. We are almost there, ladies and gentlemen, in so many ways. I really want to thank you. If you're listening to this, I am barking into the void. I am not owed an audience. I am not owed your time. Nobody owes anybody anything. I owe you nothing. You owe me nothing. Everything is through the concept of grace. You didn't... Whoop.
Never before have I turned on you when you're up too good to me. Your beady eyes that can cut me in two, and I just can't let you be. But it's a free for all, and I'm hard to said, you can bet your life. Stakes are high, and so am I. It's in the air tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coochie Review. I'm not going to say anything bad about Ted because I'm lifting his music. But this is a segment where I talk about a cheap and tawdry sexual experience from my history. And what better?
I got me a rock and roll band, it's a fever all.
Yeah, okay, so Bonnie and Foot were the 2 lesbian dishwashers at Michael's Plum. They invited me to go out to the hardcore dyke bar with them one night. They admonished me not to return any attention that was paid to me by a female. Why? Because the woman was simply doing it to make her girlfriend jealous, and I would probably catch a shank. I followed their advice. A young woman paid me a lot of attention. I was scared. I'd been snorting Black Mollies off the table all night, and I was high as a motherfucker. Bonnie leaned into the young lady and said, "What are your intentions towards my son?" The young woman in question said her intentions were honorable. She just wanted to fuck. I was given the high sign by my proto-lesbian parents. We wound up at a trailer park in South Oklahoma City. She had not been penetrated in years. And though I am not large, I was feeling pretty large to her. I do not like causing people pain during intercourse, even if it's consensual. I was concerned. She rejoined she was having a wonderful time. I got laid at the Dyke Bar. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in, for turning on, for getting your radio all in the down. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to thank our fake sponsors. No one would sponsor this shit, but we decided to make up some business slogans for actual businesses and call them our sponsors. To the sounds of Bob Crew Generation. Ladies and gentlemen, Wet Floor Radio is sponsored by Wet Brain, whatever we're called, is sponsored by Sprouts Farmers Market at Northwest 63rd and May. Sprouts. Healthy living, more or less. Honest Ron Guitars, 10th and May Avenue. Honest Ron's Guitars. Having to call yourself honest is like being a three-fingered Yakuza. Bill Camp's Meat Market, 73rd and Western Avenue. Bill Camp's Meat Market. Call me a gouger, I'll cut you deep. CJ's Catfish Bait of Spencer, Oklahoma. CJ's smells worse than 10 miles of dead wolf pussy. Paya Electronics in Edmond, Oklahoma, manufacturers of theremin, analog synth, and other specialty electronic project kits. Paya. We've got members of Devo and the Manson family as clients. What the fuck have you done with your life? And of course, Windsor Hills Baptist Church at Northwest 23rd and MacArthur in Northwest Oklahoma City. Windsor Hills Baptist. If the SPLC says we're a hate group, we gotta be doing something right. Thoughts to live by. What's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. One man's joke is another man's slander. Another German saying, the devil always shits in the biggest pile. Said it earlier, if Jesus can take a spear, he can take a joke. I am Bozo. I'm high and dry, looking for a ball player. Ladies and gentlemen, I am like Einstein in the streets and Stephen Hawking in the sheets. Socioeconomic equality does not come from a lower tax rate, it comes from a higher guillotine. Exene Cervenka should have to suck Alec Jones's gay frog cock for all eternity. Slave Ray did nothing wrong. All cops are bastards. All children are beautiful. All coochies are bangable. Are cops actually bodhisattva? Is a giant pulsing with electromagnetic impulses is how we receive and transmit messages from the outside world of our skulls. What radio has no knobs, you must wander until you find yourself standing in a intersection. All wet radios are sublime. Some are AM, some are FM, some are CB, some are shortwave, some are marine bands. All different. The different types are not always sensitive to each other's signals, 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 sensitive to each other's